comment ça va? Va bien?
Oh, do you want to switch in French?
No, I do not, please.
It's easier for me.
I live in Canada, as you know, and our national second language is French, but I don't speak it.
Oh, what a pity. Yeah, you have to move to Quebec or Montreal or something like that.
All of the information presented is for entertainment and information purposes only. Nothing discussed constitutes legal or accounting advice, an offer or solicitation of financial services, or financial advice of any kind. Our goal is to showcase alternative vehicles to raise capital. At no point will we be soliciting any investment programs.
You were kind enough to first see if you could come to our Switzerland Zurich event. And things showed up for you, so and that's why I'm interviewing you here, so I can show a recording of you to my audience and my guests. So thank you so much for that. The purpose of my event and what I'm trying to accomplish for people is to help capital-intensive businesses learn the advantages of owning a bank license and how to leverage a bank to access capital, liquidity, and things like that. I know there are multiple different types of banks: commercial banks, family office banks, wholesale banks, merchant banks, and so on. You are in the process of not only owning one bank, but you're in the process of acquiring a second bank. Kind of like if the first wife worked out, let me go buy a second wife, so I can have them both together. Bad analogy. Can you say to my audience a little bit about who you are, your experience, your resume? And then from there, can you tell me and my audience a little bit about what are the advantages of owning a bank, and why are you making an investment to buy a secondary bank? And later on, I have other questions about your interest in Africa.
Okay. First of all, my name is Serge Raymond. I'm 52, a married man with 2 kids, grandkids right now, because they are now 24, and 17.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Madagascar. Just you might not seen my face. I work for banks since almost 3 decades now. I'm getting aged, and I've always worked for a bank, mainly for French banks, which were the Crédit Lyonnais, which has become Crédit Agricole, one of the biggest banks in the world, maybe the 10 amongst the 20 biggest banks in the world, Crédit Agricole. I worked also from BNP Paribas, and I worked also from Natixis and Société Générale. And one day, mainly it was in 2008, during the Lehman Brothers saga. I was fired during that time. I worked for BNP Paribas at that time, and I was fired like everyone else because of illiquidity crisis in 2008. And that day, I was in contact with the CEO of a bank, African bank, which called Bank of Africa, present at that time in 10 countries in Africa. Now it's in more than 20 countries in Africa. And he asked me to set up a bank in France because he wanted me very vigorously to have his subsidiary in France. So I was in charge of setting up the bank, having the relationship with regulators, building up a team to set up all the banks in the operational, the core banking system, the internal control, whatever. So it took me 1 year, to have it done. it was a small bank. It's still a small bank because we began with 5 million euros of capital. So it's inexistent bank with at that level in France because, as you might surely know, BNP Paribas, for example, it's worth the GDP of France, as total assets. So 5 million, you exist or don't exist, who cares?
Nobody cares.
But it is still a very profitable, bank because it's a niche bank in trade finance, in money markets, in commercial bank credit lines or something like that, and specialized in serving financial institutions all over the world. We had customers as banks customers in Toronto, surprising, in Toronto, in Hong Kong, and all over Africa, more than 100 customers in Africa. And I was the CEO of this bank during 15 years, from 2009 and last year. And, every means bring to Roma, like so. I have become someone who is known in France as the African guy who can build a bank in France. So another bank, two banks in Africa wanted to have their subsidiaries in France. I become now part of Vista Bank Group, which is rightly present in 5 countries in Africa. And we are, like you just said, we are about to buy a group banking present in 12 countries in Africa.
Wow.
Which is called Aura Bank. And also 2 assets from Société Générale in Mozambique and in Burkina Faso. That's my resume. For living, I am a banker, obviously, and for the fun, I run a bunch of marathon in the world, in Tokyo, in Boston, and not yet in Toronto. It's supposed to be a famous one, but I've not a chance to run the Toronto Marathon. And I've just finished this year, the Grand Slam of Marathon, the 6th biggest one in the world.
There are a lot of lawyers partner up at both in Canada, Cayman Islands, in Zurich, Panama, whose job is to sell bank licenses. They make a lot of money selling bank licenses. And they tell people everybody should own a bank. Yeah, what are the benefits of owning a bank?
Well, it depends on the type of a bank, like you just said. Maybe I'm not a subject matter expert in private banking, on family office banking, but in commercial bank, nothing.
Okay, other than nothing, what are the
really? It's more complicated and more constraints to have a bank in commercial banks because there are a lot of constraint in compliance, in internal control. Even you are personally liable, to whatever fault your CEO, your staff are doing as a bank. So obviously, even like I said, you can have the $1 billion of liquidity, the $1 billion of equities in commercial bank, but as a shareholder, as an owner of a bank, of course you have the prestige, but it can't help you. Yeah, that's unfortunately the reality in commercial bank. If you have a boutique in investment bank, it's different. Yeah, because you can leverage a lot from owning a bank because you have the liquidity, you have the asset, you can monetize all your assets. You can, yeah, you know that everyone knows that, but if you have a bank, you can, gather all investor easily than having, let's say, a telecom company, because it doesn't require so much equities. It doesn't require so much equities to have a bank, because it's, how to say it, all your results and all your equities, let's put it that way. If you have €1 of equities in a bank, you can lend more than €10 additional euros to your customers.
Interesting.
That's a big, you create money, you create, a liquidity. That's the main interest of having a bank, but it's not for you.
How do you do that? How is it that I give $1 and you give somebody $10? How do you do that?
Because it's like an insurance, the regulation, the international regulation is built to allow a bank to put aside €1 for €10 of loan.
Right.
The probability of default is about, let's say, 1 out of 10. That's why it is allowed to create money 10 more.
Right. Got it. I love it. Okay, good. So I understand that you said there's no benefits, and you said I'm taking a personal risk. If there's no benefits and you're taking a personal risk, I would say why are you buying another bank and another bank and another bank?
Oh,
so let me go back to you and me, if I may. So I run a private organization. You run a bank. Imagine if I want to raise capital. Taimour is all funds global. We have a brand. Believe it or not, we have a brand. You can Google us. We show up. We've written books, white papers, all that stuff. We do events with bank sales. So I think we have somewhat of a brand worldwide. If I raise money and you raise money, I suggest it's easier for you to raise money because I'm not a bank. I'm a private corporation and you are. If I want to sell an asset we have and you want to sell an asset you have, I think it's a lot easier for you to sell it because you're a bank.
Yeah.
You can monetize the asset a lot easier, right?
Yeah. It's a goodwill of having a bank. It's a natural goodwill.
Natural goodwill. Okay.
That's why.
Let's talk about the natural goodwill. What are all the natural goodwill? Can you tell me what are all the natural goodwill?
You said it's a brand. It's a brand, but for me it's a goodwill because it's easy for every investor to that guy has been licensed by a central bank, by the Federal Reserve, by Bank of England, whatever. It's more powerful and you can easily leverage on that.
Got it.
That's all. That's all.
Why are you taking personal risk, and what are you doing to protect yourself from a personal risk?
We don't put everyone. We don't put eggs in the same basket. So you have to mitigate your risks.
Sure.
If you assure yourself, you don't create leverage, you don't create value, you don't have value. You have just to you just transform what you've done. So for me, but don't get me wrong, please. It's interesting having a bank because it's very profitable. Especially if you talk to Bank of America, if you talk to JP Morgan, those Main Street banks are very profitable. The bank I used to run, it's more about 40% of return on equity each year. Even it's a small bank.
That is profitable.
40%.
And is that guaranteed or best effort basis?
Sorry?
Is that guaranteed or best effort basis?
not guaranteed, but best effort basis.
Okay.
But it's the trend is constant every year because it's a bank, specialized in flows, not in credit. So we didn't use so much our equity.
Understood. Let me ask you that question. So let's assume I run a venture capital firm, or I run an asset management company that I've got over $1 billion in assets, or something like that. And let's assume I'm not interested in owning a bank. Not my thing. Not my core business. Would a small bank CEO like you be interested in partnering? And maybe the venture capital firm, asset management company, their job is to bring capital into your bank and increase your liquidity. Or maybe their job is to bring assets to your bank for your assets under management to grow, for your credit ranking to grow like that. Is there a play for something like that?
It can be interesting because an asset manager on venture capital brings either debt, either deposit, or equities. So once you've got it all, it's all of your liability sides and your accountancy. If either it comes from the venture capital or asset manager, it's worth it for a bank. If you have the liquidity, if you have the deposit, equities, or debt, it's huge because that's deposit you have to transform into credit. So it's very beneficial for a bank to have a lot of deposit. Supposed that it costs less for them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And then if I wanted to get your attention, putting $10 in your bank would not make a difference. How much money do I need to walk in with?
I will respond you from the accountancy standpoint. It depends on my total assets.
Okay.
Do I need your $10 if I've already $100?
No. But how much do I need to walk in today to your bank for me to get your attention?
Every penny counts in a bank. Okay. The main difference is about the cost of funding. It's normal if you want to work in with $10, but you want to have a rate of 10%. Let's put it that way. It's for me. It's in France, for instance. I can have a deposit freely right now.
Okay.
So it depends on what you have as an ambition to catch all the deposits, debt, or equities.
Got it. Understood. How much should I walk in with to get you excited? Cash.
I'm not sure to understand you.
No. Yeah. If I call you tomorrow and I said, Serge, I have $5 million. Can be a strategic partner with you for $5 million? Would you say yes?
Yes, but it depends on how much do you require as a rate.
That's fine. Oh, we can negotiate that later. And then in terms of, there are lots of corporations that are asset rich but cash poor. If I had assets to bring in, what types of assets would you love to have? Would you like to have standby letters of credit from Barclays Bank? Would you like to have land? Like, what types of assets would you be excited about?
My current bank right now is fond of any instruments with which we can leverage. Concretely, if you give me some SBLC or certificate of deposit or whatever, T-bills, if I can leverage on those assets, I'll go for it.
What's the minimum value of the assets so it's worth your time?
Once again, it depends on my total assets and the proportion of what I want to have. Because, banks in Europe, not in France, not only in France, you have some, scales.
Yeah.
Once you reach a scale, you are liable to, to pay something else to the central bank. So
100%.
we have to increase steadily your total assets.
100%.
No need to have a big amount of deposit and
100%.
the day after.
100%.
So you have to, yeah.
Okay, great. My last question, if I may. So your story is a wonderful story where African banks come to you in France because of all the trade between France and Africa. And they're like, hey, Serge, would you want to open a branch for me? But you're now in a position in your career where you are investing in Africa. You want to buy banks in Africa. So you've turned the table around.
But we are already buying banks in Africa.
Perfect. Right.
You remember?
So
yeah.
why
our group is buying 2 assets from Société Générale. We've already bought 2 assets from BNP Paribas in Guinea and Burkina Faso, and right now we are about to close, Société Générale in Mozambique and Burkina Faso. So it's a kind of investing in banks in Africa. The difference is, but the capital comes from the US because our holding is in the US.
I love it. Very cool. Why are you so passionate about investing in Africa?
Because it's a virgin field. If you...
I've never heard that I've heard other analogies, I haven't heard that in one. Okay, that's very good.
It's it's risky, for sure. But the premium you pay is still affordable, and you can earn a lot of margin, or rather, placing it in Europe with the T-bills of 2%. Well, in the US it's 5% Federal Reserve rate bond.
Yeah.
But in Africa right now, for example, in Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, the T-bills is about 8%. So your margin above that, you can take, 300 basis point over that rate reference. So it's interesting, to have more rates, more earning, more turnover in Africa than in Europe, obviously.
Sure, understand.
And we profit also, beneficiary also the fact that big European banks are retreating from Africa.
So you see a market.
So we are taking their place.
I said to you last question, I apologize, I've changed my mind. 2 more questions. So I said why you're so excited about Africa. You told me why you're excited. Then you said, and you started with, it is risky. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to that. Which countries in Africa are you see less risk in and are more likely to put real capital in?
I would have said South Africa, but it has already changed. Let's say Botswana was stable country. It's about stability, political stability. It's about awareness of everyone that financial system has to be stable, which is not always the case. Let's say also Morocco it's less risky, I think. But if you think of Egypt is more than 100 million people in the country, and the country is booming. So there are a lot of opportunities. So when there is a lot of opportunities, there is much lesser risk. But it's difficult to be firm, on which country is. Mauritius is a very stable countries in Africa, and the financial system and financial market are very powerful.
I love it. Very cool. Serge, thanks so much for your time, for my audience in this event. I really appreciate it. My name is Taimour Zaman from Allfunds Global. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the video, and if you're interested in legitimate programs, as long as you're accredited investor, please sign up to our events. You will see we do events on structured financing with CEOs of banks. You can come in and learn all about these types of programs, fund the banks and law firms to work with. I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to your opportunity meetings. Thank you.
Would you like to know about our next event?
Why would you attend Allfunds Global's banking events?
Allfunds Global really showed us real-life examples, which are not only innovative and very disruptive, but use cases in the real world. Actually, deals are being made here, which are absolutely amazing, and it just really shows that the guys are absolutely professional.
You'd have a unique opportunity to meet real banking executives and professional law firms that are doing various forms of structured finance. You'll also get access to ideas and programs banks only offer their elite customers.
I thought the event was extraordinary. I came from a long ways away, and I was absolutely shocked at the quality of what I learned here and the excellent speakers and the people that were here. I was shocked and amazed.
4 different banks, and everybody had, something to offer, and everybody offered something different. So it was just done very well. I'd recommend anybody come to one of Taimour's events. I would gladly come to the next event.
Check out our events page at www.allfundsglobal.com/membership-events.
Hi friends, I now want to take a minute and answer some of your frequently asked questions. One of the common questions I get a lot is, Taimour, we've learned a lot from you through your YouTube channel. How do we learn more? Can we fly down and meet your team? And the answer to all of that is yes, yes, and yes. But if you want to learn more, my first invitation is to become a member of Allfunds Global. You simply go to our website, allfundsglobal.com. You sign up to become a member for free. You get access to webinars, offshore events that we do, and content that we never, ever, ever, ever publish on YouTube. I promise you that it's worth becoming a member for sure. The second way that you can learn a lot is I'm a published author. Structured Financing, Demystified, Hypergrowth, just multiple books on Amazon that you can get access to. I highly recommend going and checking out some of these books, getting engaged into some of the stuff, that strategies and tactics that we're using for ourselves, for our families, for our friends. You definitely want to check these things out for sure. Another question, I guess, Taimour, why are you so passionate about getting a bank license? Why is that so important? Well, the truth is, our mission within Allfunds Global is to help businesses become self-funded for life. Imagine you run a coffee shop and I run a coffee shop. Imagine we buy the coffee beans from the same grower and my coffee shop is right across yours, like really right across yours. Our competition is probably nil. But if you have a bank license and I don't have a bank license, and let's say I made $500,000 and you made $500,000 in income, but if you have a bank license, you are depositing a bank license with a central bank of the country where you own your own private bank license. Let me repeat this again. You are depositing your money with the central bank of the country you have your bank license on. So $500,000 deposited with the central bank should give you a line of credit of 10 times multiple. So that means you get a line of credit of $5 million. Now it's not free money, it's a line of credit of $5 million. Now, if you draw that entire money out and you go to whichever country you're currently resonating in, the country you're doing business with, and you know in real estate, you want to buy a house, you put 20% down and you get a loan for 80%, same thing. You put $5 million down with a business plan to your local bank, whoever your bank with, and say, hey, I want to grow my business, my technology business, real estate business, pharmaceutical business, whatever business it is. I'm a venture capitalist. I'm putting $5 million down. Your bank gives you a loan at four times more, so now you get a $20 million loan. Now it's not free money, it's $20 million loan. What can you afford to do with $20 million that I cannot afford to do with $500,000. Could you invest in artificial intelligence? Could you invest in hiring better people? Could you invest in advertising? Hell, with that amount of money, could you even buy auxiliary businesses or invest in auxiliary businesses? I say you can, and that's why we within Allfunds Global are so passionate in helping clients become self-funded for life, and getting a private bank license is one of the vehicles that I am personally very passionate about helping clients on. Another question, I guess, Taimour, you charge a consultation fee. Allfunds Global, the team charges a consultation fee. Why do you charge a consultation fee when you guys can make so much money on the back end? It somehow slows me down from taking a credit card and paying you money for it. Well, here's the truth. We offer our content, millions and millions of dollars worth of content complete for free on YouTube. We don't advertise as of the date of doing this video. We don't advertise on YouTube, Google, or we don't do any kind of advertising at all. And what we find is the volume of traffic that goes into YouTube attracts people that are tire kickers, people that are fraudsters, people that have mental health issues. When we charge a small consultation fee, this deters the hacker, the fraudster, the person who's shopping around, the tire kicker. It eliminates all that and allows me and my team to be on calls or meetings with customers we actually want to do business with. What a concept. Now comes, this is better. At the time of doing a transaction with a client, that fee they pay for a consultation call, we refund it. At the conclusion of us doing a transaction with a client, we refund 100% of all the monies that they paid on consultation fees. This allows us to work with people that are committed to working with us, are serious about working with us, are not tire kickers, are not people that are like, they don't know what banking 101 is, and they're there to waste our time and energy. Just eliminates that. And me and my team are very proud of doing that. Next question, I guess, Taimour, the alternative funding industry overall has a lot of fraudsters in it, has a lot of deep fake in it. What are you doing to protect us, protect yourself? So here's the answer to that. Any industry that has a lot of money by default attracts a lot of fraud. Let me say this again. Any industry that attracts a lot of money by default attracts a lot of fraud. I don't know who you bank with. If you bank with one of the top 20 banks in the world, pick a bank you bank with, or you use payment processing companies like PayPal, these companies see a lot of fraud every day, from fraudsters mimicking their website to mimicking their email addresses, and in cases like mine, once a year or twice a year, some idiot, excuse my language, decides to copy my picture on social media, tries to create a fake profile of me, and goes on social media selling scammy transactions. Now, we have the technology and the resources to catch that, usually within 72 hours of that happening, and then cause legal action against that fraudster. We have the financial resources, thank God, to do that today, but that's just the nature of this industry. So what we do to protect ourselves is we never solicit on social media anything, nor do we solicit in general. We offer a lot of educational materials, but we don't solicit. You'll never see me or any of my associates on any social media trying to sell anything, ever. Second, all transactions that we do, money always has to go through a reputable law firm. All transactions we do, money always has to go to a reputable law firm. We never ask the client to send us money or anything like that. Now, I do want to take a minute and talk a little bit about my competitors. In the United States, in the US alone, US has 3% of the world's population, and they have over 60% of the world's lawyers. In the United States, that's a fact, have 3% of the world's population and over 60% of the world's lawyers. I have a lot of legitimate competitors in the United States and around the world that unfortunately have been sued for wrongful things that other people have done. There's a lot of negative stuff on social media or websites about some of my legitimate competitors. And I want to tell you that a lot of my competitors are legitimate, they're hardworking people. I know them, they deliver real results. And unfortunately, they have negative comments or fraud or even lawsuits against them. The reason within Allfunds Global doesn't have a lawsuit against it, or me, Taimour Zaman, don't have a lawsuit against me, or people on social media saying that we're fraudsters or something like that, is simply because of my lack of vision. Every company you deal with, every major company you deal with, whether it's the cars you drive, Ford, Lexus, I don't know, GM, or Facebook, Google, YouTube, whatever you use, or medicine you have, like Taimour, that all of these companies have lawsuits against them. A lot of the companies you work with have litigations against them. It's just part of the growth. At some point, the business needs to grow exponentially, and that's when you have to see lawsuits as just the nature of the business growing. The fact that we don't have it is because of my lack of vision as the CEO and like trying to bark a tree like that. Now, I see that changing as we buy businesses that have other CEOs, as we grow. We have over 800 registered brokers with us. As that number grows, it's not normal for our business to continue growing without some idiot calling us fraudster, some idiot trying to sue us, or something like that. If you want to take advantage of the alternative funding industry, I'm going to tell you this is the industry I love. I'm going to tell you this is the industry that I've made a lot of money with. I'm going to tell you this is the industry I've helped a lot of clients make a lot of money with, friends and family make a lot of money with. And if this is an industry you want to get involved in, I recommend meeting the people you want to do business with, like physically flying out to meeting them. If you can afford to hire an investigator, we use a lot of former FBI, former CIA people. These are people you can hire to do background checks. It's not only do these people have lawsuits or not, or other losers calling them fraudsters or not. I'm telling you, a lot of my competitors are really good people, and they're not fraudsters. So like, do your own due diligence, listen to your intuition. We're really interested in working with some really good people that are vision-driven entrepreneurs that really want to serve the world, and I think we have some things that are really amazing to offer. Another question I get is, Taimour, we love all the services of Funds Global. What are the top 3 services you offer that we should really seriously think about, call you or your organization and get you guys involved? But my favorite service, the one that makes a lot of sense, is the trusted advisory service. This is when we become your chief banking officer. We work with your CFO, your legal team, the CEO, the COO. We look at where your organization is, where you want it to be. We look at banking programs that make sense for your type of business, that are proven and would work to generate access to alternative revenue sources for your business that makes sense. From that, we then create offshore tax structures, offshore bank accounts, offshore bank licenses for your organization, so the revenue that gets generated has a channel to go to that is well protected. We have a lot of domain expertise that I do not share ever on YouTube. It's not like a lawyer who's like, go create a trust account and cooks out it. Like we don't do. We do some very sophisticated stuff that I'm very proud of. That's our intellectual property. And so the trusted advisory services, where we become a trusted advisor, is one of the things that I would recommend everybody to look at. It's a monthly retainer, you pay for it, but let me tell you, for every penny you put in, that you get tens of dollars out of it. And I think you're not going to get this amount of expertise dedicated to your business. So that's something I would recommend you to think about and sign up for. Second one is, if you're looking for access to capital, we have a lot of unique programs like Rent a Rich Uncle that we can support your organization, as long as your organization is a successful business and not a startup, not somebody who's going bankrupt. It's a successful business that has real cash, real assets, and is generating something real, that's real growth. I think we have some avenues for accessing capital that others simply cannot offer. And the final one that I love is we have a lot of asset management structures that are very unique to our intellectual property that I love to share with you. If you have assets, you want to grow, you want to get bank license, you want to set up a trust, you want to work with multiple central banks, do some really cool stuff. I think I'm the only weirdest person that has real expertise and experience in doing this stuff. And so my name is Taimour Zaman from Funds Global. Thank you for following us up on YouTube. If you're doing that, thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting my team. And on behalf of my team, I just really want to say thank you. And we look forward to the opportunity of serving you.